Michael in San Antonio, Texas, you're on with Tracie and Mandisa, and I just want to say, they did say that your question's about random mutations and evolution. We will see if we can have a conversation about it. We are not biologists, and we don't claim to be, and it might be somewhere over my head, but I'm willing to hear the question, see if I have any thoughts.
We might be on equal ground. I'm not a biologist in any way. Barely passed it in high school. Well, yeah, so thanks for taking my call. And yeah, I don't want to get like overly scientific, every now and then I just kind of, get different questions in my head, and sometimes I struggle to answer them. I'll put them on Reddit as well too, but sometimes that can just get ugly and doesn't really go anywhere constructive.
I understand.
And so I think this is my third time calling the show now. So I do enjoy calling up. But yeah, basically my question is that let's see here. So when you look at evolution in general, we see that evolution leads to a biological living entity, growing, like basically
changing, adapting,
organisms,
right?
and they grow and they become more complex, essentially.
Well, they adapt,
develop,
right?
The eyes. Well, like the eyes.
Well, I mean, jellyfish haven't really gotten too far.
Well, it all depends on how you look at it.
Exactly.
For sure. But so yeah, that gets. So let me back up here. Sorry.
That's okay.
It's easy to get sidetracked.
No, it's totally fine.
Stuff, so when you look at the organism and you see how the different organs have developed and grown over millions of years, to become, the entire system, the mammalian system is incredible. When you study biology, and it's phenomenal, especially in the sense that it's self-sustainable, that it can produce, it can reproduce, and it, in modern terms, it doesn't leave a carbon footprint. It doesn't produce waste that isn't naturally taken care of. Most of the life on the planet.
So we got a real efficient system going on, right? Well, I mean,
exactly.
Like the planet seems to go like it goes, right?
Yes. And so for over millions of years, for this to grow and to continue to go in that direction, as evolutionary theorists say, through random mutations, why did the mutations keep growing and keep benefiting? Why didn't they just mutate some other random direction? Why over millions of years?
Here's a question. Do you think that a mutation that's not beneficial would probably have a good chance of making it to go forward?
In general, at best, it wouldn't have an effect. But anything below that, it might make it more difficult for the living entity to survive.
Right, but do you think that something that's actually, quote, beneficial might be something that reproduces more?
Yes.
I agree. Does that help?
Okay. Well, my question is the scope of the entire system. To me, that seems like it couldn't have happened just by random chance. And the fact
I don't think it does happen by random chance. You said you called a couple times before, and you sound like somebody who is genuinely interested in this. And I'm going to recommend a series. It's like several episodes, and it's called Waking Up in the Universe. Growing Up in the Universe, and if you Google it, you'll find it. It's a super dated, like super old series, and that alone might make it funny for you, like make it entertaining. It was just a small lecture series that Dawkins gave like a long time ago, before all this atheist stuff was like in his pocket. And it was when he was just doing biology, and it has to do with explaining how these things progress in a way that I felt was like super clear. Right? So he uses like these lock examples where it's like a combination lock and you get one number, and once you have that one number going, you get random until you hit another number.
Sure.
And then you get random. And by the end of it, it's like, how did we get so complicated that we open this lock, right? And it's like, well, it happened from these little increments. And it kind of, this is a really good example that I just thought of that you might look up that's kind of funny. And it's these squirrel, what do they call them? Squirrel obstacle courses, right?
Sure.
So I saw this video and I was just amazed. And it was these people that have built these really wild obstacle courses in their yards, like these huge, massive things of tricks and puzzles. And these squirrels hit these things, rip right through them, get the food, and they're done. And I'm like, how? How does a squirrel do that? Like, how did you train this squirrel to do this? This isn't wild that this squirrel can do this crazy, complicated obstacle course in just seconds, right? That is unbelievable. And I couldn't understand how a squirrel could do such a thing. And then I started looking at how they build these, right? So here's how you build one.
They do it one by one at a
time.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, I know about it.
And Dawkins' point is that that's how evolution works too, right?
Well, that's what I'm having trouble with is that while you're going to the next lock and the next lock, in Dawkins' example, the ones before it are staying where they're at. But these random mutations should be changing these things. So that, over the course of millions of years. So, like...
I mean, some things are well adapted, right? Some things are, like a shark. Or a bat, I think, is, some of these things are well adapted. Sure. Or cockroach. Doesn't really, cockroaches are super.
They are the longest living species
they hit
planet.
They hit a really good system early on, and they're sticking with it.
Well, that's what it's saying, though. But, we're saying all these things, but at the end of the tunnel, you're saying that there was nothing that had any hand in this entire system, this cockroach that somehow just had this incredible system that allowed it to survive over millions of years, and that other systems over millions of years have grown and grown to survive. You can't kill life, actually. We try. There's $1 billion industry trying to kill life, and it can't be done.
I don't know what that means. Right?
Yeah, what is that?
You're going to have to help me out on that one.
Ant killer. There's all kinds
I can kill ants, let me tell you. It's not pretty how I do it. It may not be legal. But
back. You can't get rid of them.
So you're saying things can't get extinct? Nothing goes extinct?
That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that life is so voracious that it continues to grow and it continues to flourish. And to me, if there wasn't something that had
but I think you're looking at you're looking at a very limited thing, though. Some life goes forward and some life hurts bad, dwindles, and dies. Not all life goes forward. But you're just saying that as long as things are alive, that means life is flourishing. But we don't know that, right? We could be in the process of destroying everything on this planet right now.
Well, humans are another story, aren't we?
Well, but we're life, aren't we?
Sure.
I don't think it's impossible that we could take everything down on this planet. I don't think that's an impossibility. Right? I think
everything out?
Yeah, I think we could take ourselves and everything else on this planet out.
Well...
I'm not saying that I know this. I'm just saying I don't see any reason why that's an impossibility.
Well, because we can't even kill the ants in our front yard. They keep coming back.
We're not putting everything we've got into it. Again, I don't want to give my secrets up, but it's like, some things are not legal.
Okay.
There are ways to kill fire ants, and I'm not, it's like, may not be the nicest things in the world.
Kind of digressed a little bit. But no, I just feel that, when looking at these systems of biology and evolution and how they've gone in this one direction, when the evolutionaries are telling us that it's natural selection and
But they haven't gone in one direction. I guess that's what I keep getting lost in, because some things are changing, some things are staying real stagnant, some things are dying off. Everything's going in lots of different directions.
Well, I'm talking about the process of evolution over billions of years that's led to the human form that we see before.
But you said humans were a different story.
Well, that is true. Exactly.
Okay, so then we're just like one
that's
species.
Not in a biological sense. I'm talking about in like what we do, but in a biological sense, we're mammals.
Sure.
So
Okay.
That's fine. We're mammals, and sometimes mammals go extinct, right? Like we just lost out a rhino species that's gone now, I think, recently. And that's a mammal.
Right. But no, okay, so the point, what I'm, why I'm talking about the evolution of up to the human, and you're saying, is it going forward, is it not? I mean, the question is simply in numbers, the organisms that have developed, and humans in general, and Richard Dawkins certainly echoed this. It was the first line in one of his books, that we are the greatest thing, in the universe, like the most intelligent, the greatest thing the universe has created is like the human and the human ability to think and to create and to rationalize that we know of. There could be other things we don't know of, right?
Right. So yeah, we definitely have, like, when it comes to cognitive capacity, as far as we're able to measure ourselves against other species, we tend to measure up pretty well. But there's other capacities where we're not as good.
Oh, well, a lot.
Yeah. So some things we're good at, some things we're not so good at. We're bad at breathing underwater. Really bad.
That's true. But no, I mean, in general, people, I know, Richard Dawkins, they tend to think humans as like the highest that evolution has produced.
I don't think you can think of it as like highest, right? You can look at things and say that something is kind of better at this than something else. And yes, I think that there's definitely obviously, okay, let me just make it clear. Obviously, there are things unique about human beings. And if there weren't, we wouldn't be able to tell humans from other animals, right? There's unique things about a golden retriever, which is how we can tell a golden retriever from other animals. There's things that make it a golden retriever, things that it is that other things are not. And so, yes, human beings have the things that make us human that are different than the other things that are not human. I agree. And some of those things are unique or uniquely extreme, let's say. Is that fair?
Yeah, I suppose that's fair enough. But I don't know. I mean, I strongly believe that, that entire system that we're looking at that has, produced through evolution, things like, blood, how blood clots, the nervous system and skin and the regenerative system of our bodies.
What else would it do? Like, what else would it do?
What else would what do?
What else would blood do?
I mean, it fills books with how much it does.
No. I'm sorry. I'm not being clear. You're saying you're amazed that it clots, and I'm saying it's not all blood clots, right? But most blood clots. And I guess what I'm asking is, what if blood didn't clot? We'd be talking about something else, right? Or if blood clotted in a different way, we'd be talking about that. So, I mean, you're looking at what is and just saying this is what is and this is amazing. And I'm saying, but what else would it be?
I don't understand.
What else would it be, right? So, for example, do you know the little story about the puddle that, goes into the hole? Like there's a puddle and it's conscious and it rains and it fills a hole and it's like a puddle in a hole. And it says, wow, this is so amazing that this hole fits me so perfectly. Every crevice matches my shape as a puddle, right? And I'm kind of looking at it going, what else would it be but the hole? Wouldn't it be whatever developed in the hole? If you have something that fills the hole, it's going to be what fits in the hole. And if you're like a thing that grew up in this universe or on this planet, you're going to be whatever grows up on this planet. And so you're saying, hey, it's amazing to be the blood clots. And I'm like, why wouldn't it?
Well, I believe that's just taking the entire system for granted. Like, oh, it's here. It's always been here.
No. I'm definitely not saying it's always been here. I'm saying, what else would it be? What makes you think it should be other, or that it could be other? Could it be something other than it is? Could it be something other than it is?
I mean, that's just theoretical musings. I mean, I'm looking at what it is.
I'm saying it has become what it has become, and you're saying, oh my gosh, look what it's become. And I'm saying if it became something else, you'd be looking at that saying, oh my gosh, look,
it could be a pile of dirt on the ground.
If I take a jar of dice and I throw it on the table, what are the odds that it's going to land the way it lands? Like if I have 10 dice and throw them out on this table and they land in a certain sequence, right, of numbers up, that's going to be some pretty crazy odds that I would get that result. But I can take those same dice, put them in the jar, roll them again, get an entirely different result, and it's the same odds, those same wild odds, those same outrageous odds. I can do this endlessly, and I'm going to get things that it's like, what are the odds that I got that?
All you're ever going to get is numbers on a die. But in this system...
But the odds of those numbers, put 1,000 dice in those things and throw it, and now you've got astronomical odds that it would end up that way. You're saying it's astronomical that it ended up this way, and I'm saying however it ended up would be astronomical.
I'm not even saying it's astronomical. It's beyond astronomical,
Yeah, and what I'm saying is it is what it is, right? You're basically saying because it's not something else, then what it is amazing. And I'm saying
it's how it is, and what I said. Matter could just be a rock on the ground.
Yes, it could.
And it is what it is.
It could.
But somehow it became this human system of
yes, it did.
The mammals, the fish, everything that recently they discovered some animals that live in a cave, and in that cave the atmosphere is sulfuric. There's more sulfur than anything else, and those animals adapted.
Yeah, they're called extremophiles.
Environment.
Yeah, and what else would live in sulfur except an extremophile? I couldn't. And if I could, I'd be an extremophile, right? I mean,
what else?
Or if most things lived in sulfur, then the things that lived in our atmosphere would be like, an extremophile.
But the fact that it adapted to something that extreme.
What else would it adapt to? I mean, you're looking at the result.
It at one time wasn't oxygen.
I'm going to say, go and Google waking up in the universe and just give it a try, right? Just go through it and see if it helps you grasp that you are making the end result this amazing thing without understanding. Well, it seems you understand the steps to get there, but for some reason you're not calculating them.
I can understand the
steps. Yes, you can.
To me, all of those steps show something that is, responsible for it.
Why?
You know
what else would it? What if people had, were a different height? Would that make it not a god? I mean, what? What is it that would?
Well, no.
What result would be, not indicative of something making it, designing it?
Well, that's an impossible thing to answer because
exactly.
we live in the world around us that we're all looking. I mean,
we only have one sample size. We got a sample set of one. And we can't really understand what else it would be or if it could be anything else. I don't know if it could be different than it is.
Right.
And I mean, so maybe this is what universes and planets that have life do.
Yeah.
But watch it. Give it a watch. I found it interesting. I'm not saying. Well, I'm not saying like go and learn yourself something here. I watched the Waking Up in the Universe. I found it really interesting and helpful, and I'm just sort of throwing it out there. I would recommend, based on what you're asking, that you take a look at it because I think that was pretty much what he's working to explain. It might take a few episodes of it before it gets into that, but bear with it. It's only a few episodes long. It's like, maybe I think 4 or 5 episodes long, and they're kind of fun. He does these little experiments, and I don't want to make it, I'm not being patronizing, but like there's children in the audience, and so he kind of gears it toward a fun sort of sometimes it's interactive. There's like an interactive thing, and he does little, like experiments and stuff that are very visual, and it was just an interesting thing. I think you'll like it even if at the end of it you're like, no, I still think it's amazing and I still think it's designed. I think you would still enjoy watching it. I'm just going to say. That's my recommendation.
Sure. I appreciate that. And, to be honest, a lot of the questions that kind of come in my head and that I'm not really getting answers to are like from reading Dawkins. People have recommended me, check out this, read this book. And I read him and I'm just like, he's not answering. He's not going deep enough for me. He's looking at the surface and he's like the locks, but, I feel like there's got to be something like deeper, because there's a lot of questions that just observing it can't tell you, like the why. Why did it happen?
Oh, but you're assuming there's a why. What if there is no why?
Well, the why is survival. Have you ever watched the Nature Channel? Those animals really want to survive, and they're trying.
Right. But
really
you're
hard.
talking about individuals now, and before you were talking about like the whole aspect of creating life and gearing life toward what we have as
individuals. Even the little cell.
Right, but I didn't say that an individual can't have a why. You're saying that all of existence has a why, not
really
the individuals. I'm saying that I agree that individuals can have will. I'm arguing that I don't think that there is a demonstration of a will outside of individual minds.
Okay, well, I mean, I would argue for both, but yeah, I appreciate you making that a difference.
Well, I can demonstrate only one. So,
yeah, that's true.
All right. Well, hey, we're going to let you go. We got a couple more callers, but thank you very much, Michael.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Okay.